Hello everybody, Battlewolf here. It's been a long time. I haven't recorded a video in like almost a month. Sorry for the delay. I hope the update video kind of explained a few things. Work's just been very heavy. I work outside all day long and it's very physical, so kind of wears me out in the day. And I'm pretty sure I could have done a few videos at night and stuff, but at night when I get home I just want to spend time with my wife, eat, watch some YouTube, just relax with a good game. So, but I'll start doing some more recording here, and this is the first weekend I really had some free time, so I figured I'll do this now. It's kind of a day I want to relax and do some recording and stuff, because I have a 6-day week ahead of me for 4th of July, so I'm going to be extremely busy, especially tomorrow and the 4th of July day, since I'll be working at the event my city holds. So, but hey, it's overtime, pay and stuff. 6-day week with maybe like 5, maybe 7 hours of overtime. I could live with that after I see that paycheck. So, but anyway, we're here at this bridge here. We're trying to make our way back to Gordo, and this is actually the area where we first beamed into, just a little bit over that way. And as you see this bridge and the hut in a cave when you first beam in, and we are here, and you can't see the way I have it paused, but there's something in the water, as you can see.
The river water is too muddy to get an idea of its depth, or what may be beneath its surface. A pair of eyes are all that you can see of the rest of this creature. Most of it is hidden beneath the murky water.
Alright, so this Spock scan.
The tricorder registers a life form, a large marine creature lurking just below the surface of the water.
Let me scan him.
It is some kind of mollusk. The river seems to be its home, and it is carnivorous, eating land and river-based forms of life.
Calamari. Oh.
One Starfleet issue...
That was the wrong thing.
Jim, there's some kind of an aquatic creature down there.
No, there isn't.
It's some kind of squid, and it doesn't look very friendly.
Nothing unusual here, Captain. It appears that the leaves are slightly toxic. I would not recommend touching it for an extended amount of time, Captain.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk and look at everybody.
Lieutenant Strachey is looking at the big creature in the water. Captain Kirk is looking at the big creature in the water. Dr. McCoy is looking at the big creature in the water. Mr. Spock is looking ahead to a cave opening on the other side of the log.
That's Spock, always one step ahead of everyone else.
There is a slow, muddy river blocking your path. A strong, thick log serves as a footbridge. The river is unmoving, and the heat and stillness are oppressive.
I do like the narration of it. It kind of goes with the whole Dungeons and Dragons where somebody narrates to where you're at. So I just love the narration sometimes has that kind of impact.
You look but see nothing of note. You look but see nothing.
Oh, come on.
You look but see nothing of... The log looks quite old but
go.
sturdy.
Okay. There are two ways you can solve this. One is moon logic, which, if you don't know what moon logic is, it's basically logic so far out there, so bizarre that it's on the moon. And a lot of adventure games have that problem with moon logic. It's basically you have to use everything in your inventory and use everything in inventory to everything else. So let's go ahead and I want to save it here.
Save new game. Cancel. Delete. Cancel. Save. Replace previous game.
The reason why there's an LP14 here, even though this is Let's Play 13, is I did some recording and I flubbed up. I recorded only audio and no video. So, I pushed the wrong button. So, let's go ahead and place death. Okay. Now, Kirk, can he?
There is nothing at the moment from. There is nothing at the moment
See,
from. There is nothing at the moment from.
he won't cross.
Captain, it would not be wise to cross while the creature is near.
Captain, perhaps I should try to cross first.
Okay, so you use him.
He looks at you with a. He looks at you.
It's kind of
with
hard to get it just right.
I'll give it a try, Captain.
And the creature's now gone. That's one way to solve it. The way an episode on TV would have solved it, but we are different. So we'll load the death one. What you're supposed to use is the knife.
Due to the small size of the knife, I doubt it would harm such a large creature.
Because it'll work. How about we throw a rock at it?
Nothing happens.
I know, the snake. Have the snake bite the creature into annoyance and it'll leave.
Nothing happens.
What you're actually supposed to use is the knife on these ferns. I think the reason why you're supposed to know that you're just supposed to do something with the ferns is the fact that Spock can actually scan them. And if you look in the inventory,
This large fern has a rather thick stem and prickly leaves.
since it was slightly toxic, had a chemical on it. So let's go ahead and just throw it in the water.
It would appear that the plant secretes a chemical that is a natural repellent to the creature. It has retreated far downstream, Captain.
The only way I think that you're supposed to use the fern is the fact the creature's on the far side of the river, as far away as it can from the fern. It doesn't come near you, even though you're all standing on the bank. So, that's the only thing I can think of. Now let's go and talk with everybody.
Reminds me of a planet I was stationed on once. The native girls were real friendly. Ensign Shu had his bachelor party there. Great time. You ever been to Omicron Draconis, Captain?
Knowing Kirk, he probably has been. If the native girls are friendly, he's there.
He doesn't seem to be in a talkative mood right now.
Anyone for a campfire?
As long as you don't sing row, 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 row your boat.
I recommend caution here, Captain.
Okay, so we need to head over here.
There seems to be a lit cave beyond the log.
Let's go ahead and go over there. Let's make sure everything's safe.
The tricorder shows nothing unusual, Captain. The creature is still downstream.
Okay, let's go ahead and continue on. Okay, so we're in this cave here.
Darkness leading into the unknown. James Kirk remembers the last time he was in a cave and is glad that this one seems more peaceful.
Last cave was in Demon World and it wasn't that bad.
Lieutenant Strachey looks nervously at the stalactites hovering precariously above you.
Except for the hurt colonist that was nearly dead. Yeah.
Spock is his usual stoic self. As usual, Dr. McCoy looks annoyed by the mission.
He's always annoyed by the mission. And he's always stoic. They're the yin and the yang.
Stalagmites rise from the floor of the cave. You look but see nothing. Stalactites descend from the ceiling.
I should warn you, the stalactites could collapse quite easily. Any sudden motion could cause large quantities of stalactites to fall on us.
Well, isn't this just great?
Doctor, I would point out that your voice could also trigger such a collapse.
Will you two stop arguing just once?
Why couldn't William Shatner said morons? That would have been awesome.
Then, gentlemen, I would advise you to stop arguing. You know, some shore leave sounds pretty good right now.
Sometimes I feel like I'm a captain of a nursery school.
Then, gentlemen, I would advise you to stop arguing.
I'll do this one.
It would seem to be a prudent course of action, Captain, if Dr. McCoy would agree.
I just love their bickering. And they try to do that again in Next Generation with Dr. Pulaski and Data for the second season. And it does not work well at all, because Spock can give as much as he can get from McCoy. But Data didn't. Data doesn't have emotions. Even though Spock did have emotions too, but Spock is really different from Data. And Data doesn't understand euphemisms and ironic gestures and stuff like that, so he wouldn't have good quips. He did have one, though, once when Dr. Pulaski called him Data instead of Data. And she's like, Data, what's the difference? And he goes, one is my name, the other isn't. And that was a pretty good comeback. She does lighten up a little bit more with Data later, near the end of the second season, because people were writing in saying that they hated Dr. Pulaski. And I'm glad that Gates McFadden came back in to do Dr. Beverly Crusher from that point on, for the third season on, because Pulaski just... No. I did not like... She was one of my most least favorite Star Trek characters, especially from the Next Generation. So... But anyway, moving on from that. Let's go ahead and talk with everybody.
Reminds me of some spelunking I did on Hades 4. Ever do any climbing, Captain?
Have you ever made it up the face of Half Dome, Lieutenant?
If we ever get back to Earth, 100 credits says I'll beat you.
Half Dome is that rock that Kirk was climbing in Star Trek V, Final Frontiers, also known as El Capitan. And I, as a personal rule from this point on, will try to refrain from ever mentioning that movie ever existed.
Captains and security officers, they don't realize how fragile the human body can be.
Sure we do. That's the challenge.
He doesn't seem to be in a talkative mood right now.
I would suggest we continue on, Captain. It would not be logical to endanger ourselves by remaining here.
I've lost any appetite I may have had for squid, Jim.
Oh, come on, this stuff is tasty, especially when fried. Alright, let's go ahead and scan everything.
Nothing to report.
Oh, yes, there is.
These stalactites were made from limestone deposits. They took millennia to form.
Kind of a little useless shit for the day. Stalactites have a C in it. And that kind of reminds you of ceiling. Now, take a look at what happens with the ones on the floor.
My tricorder indicates unusual energy patterns in this direction, Captain.
That's not what I meant to do, but that was one of the scans I had to do. But
these stalagmites were made from limestone deposits. They took millennia to form.
The stalagmites have a G in it for ground. Just a little tidbit thing. I learned that when I was pretty young, and I always thought that was kind of cool how that works that way.
This appears to be a formation of raw dilithium crystals, Captain.
Now, the game gets you full 100% if you pick up these crystals. I do not know why. It is not explained. All my research, I can't find out why you do it. The only thing I could think of is either maybe it increases your power with combat, or increases the amount of mercy power you can activate and how long it lasts. I really don't know. But the game says, but you can pick them up.
It is a large cluster of crystals.
And of course, the knife comes in handy again for this. I don't know why he does a sawing motion on crystals, but...
You have one dilithium crystal in raw form.
And it's just a little thing you can pick up. I really don't know why. It's just, you can.
Darkness leading into the
Really? You can't look at the light?
Stalagmites rise from the floor of the cave.
Okay, well, see, I talked to everyone, did I?
Have lost any appetite?
Yeah, I did. Okay. Talked to everyone, scanned everything. Now, I can use a rock and throw it at the ceiling, causing a bunch of however you pronounce it. Like I said before, I think in my first video, I tend to slur a little bit or sometimes mispronounce words. It's just the way I am. But when you knock him down, it'll kill Kirk. But then a 10-minute long sequence info saying that the guy didn't mean for you to die, and then everything else is supposed to happen, which I'll be showing in a few minutes, happens. So I'm not going to have that happen because it takes a while to get through, even if I click through everything, and it requires me to do extra editing. So I'm not going to do that. On a side note, though, if the ensign was killed, you find out that he was resurrected and sent back to the Enterprise. I hope Quetzalcoatl erased his memories of his last few minutes of his life, because I tell you, if I had memory of me being eaten and swallowed by a mollusk, I would have to have some therapy. Yeah. So, let's go ahead and go this way.
I watched as you worked through the problems I set in your path. You are a valiant, intelligent species. Please sit down. We have much to discuss.
I hear bugs.
I've had it up to here with so-called superior beings terrorizing my crew because we're so primitive. Maybe you should see how primitive you are before you go around testing others.
Very tempting.
One thing first, if you're so peaceful, how come the Aztecs were so violent and aggressive? Yes, I guess we do. Go on.
Alright,
One thing first,
here.
if you're so peaceful...
I tried to teach them the concept of self-sacrifice. It would appear they did not completely understand my teachings. You are clearly not the liars I thought you to be. Were you telling me the truth about my disciples? That they became ruthless savages?
The Federation is not in the business of lying, mister. Absolutely. Your best intentions were changed by the imperfect humans that you left in charge after you departed. Such is the way of our race, I'm afraid. You messed up in a big way. Perhaps you should try following the Prime Directive. It changed our lives. The Federation is not in the business of lying, mister. You messed up in a big... Absolutely. Your best intentions were changed by the...
I sense truth in this. Perhaps this is what happened to my children on the Klingon world of Rakur, which would explain why they are searching for me. I have clearly abused the power that was given me long ago.
I actually have a theory that a lot of maybe some of the very early Earth religions, especially like Greek and Egyptian and stuff, may have been formed by aliens. I mean, Aztecs and Mayans have drawings that indicate, may look like rockets or levers or people in spacesuits. Now, it could be just totally coincidence that it's like that. But sometimes kind of wonder. But I don't go as crazy as that guy with the crazy hair that basically, if I can't explain it, it has to be aliens. I don't care if some other scientific person came up with it. I don't believe them. It is aliens. Always aliens. Because aliens. Aliens this, aliens that. I know. But it's kind of interesting to think, and just thinking, what if? What if it was aliens, you know? But why would they want to mess with us? My mom always had a saying that on Earth, there's a sign that hangs above us saying, does not play well with others.
You show great wisdom, sir, but your statement implies that you wish to change your condition.
Indeed. If my mission of peace was overthrown, then I am no longer worthy of my power. Tell me, has your species made progress in the medical arts?
We're a technologically advanced starfaring race. What do you think? That we wouldn't have made progress in medicine?
It's almost been 1,000 years. Of course we would have.
Yes, why do you ask? With Dr. McCoy, I sometimes wonder, but yes, I would say we have made considerable advances.
Dr. McCoy hates 20th century medicine, and he hates 23rd century medicine. I don't think there's any century of medicine that he actually likes.
Then I shall ask to make use of your advances. At the top of my spine is a gland not found in your species. This is the seat of my power. I wish you to remove it, thereby making me immortal.
The way he says remove it has such passion and anger in it. To remove it. Just tear it from my spine. I don't care if it kills me. Just remove it.
Jim, I'll try, but the physiology is completely alien.
You've got to do it, Bones. If the Klingons realize he's no longer a threat to them, perhaps we can avoid a war. Scotty, 5 to beam up.
Toy has a different beaming sequence.
Captain, 3 Klingon heavy battle cruisers have just entered the system.
I would love to have Sulu pipe in and say he's raising shields, because 3 Klingon cruisers, I would raise shields even if they were not going to fire at me.
Admiral Kenka is hailing us, sir.
Federation starship, this is Admiral Blick Pinker of the Clearter. You harbor a criminal who has caused the destruction of the entire population of Rakkor. We are not prepared to negotiate. You will proceed to Rakkor, where a court of Cleon justice will be convened. If you refuse, we shall destroy you.
The way he says criminal, it makes him sound like he's Arnold Schwarzenegger. But this is not Admiral Clinton. Admiral Clinton is supposed to be all gray hair and gray beard. This is not him. Also, another thing about Klingons in this. You may notice, if you're to only follow the recent Star Treks, is they have no ridges. The ridges disappeared, referred to in Star Trek Enterprise, about 100 years before these shows started. They lost the ridges due to a virus, and the only way to cure it was a vaccine, but the vaccine caused them to lose the ridges. Now, the ridges do grow back because if you look at the movies compared to Next Generation, in the movies their forehead ridges are less pronounced than the ones in Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and Voyager. They're not as bumpy. So they're growing back. And it makes sense too, because 3 characters from the original series, 3 prominent Klingons, all reprised roles, same actors, and same character in Deep Space Nine, but they had the ridges in Deep Space Nine, whereas in the original series they did not. So I'm kind of glad that they did that, brought back the how they explained it, and how in the movies the mispronouncing. Gene Roddenberry always said he always wanted them to have ridges, but he didn't have the budget to bring it about. So that's why in the motion picture, that was the first Star Trek ever to show Klingons with their original ridges. Okay, let's go to
Admiral Vlick, the criminal of whom you speak, is in the middle of a very delicate medical procedure. He cannot be handed over to anyone at this time. Since when do Klingons give orders to Federation officers, Admiral? I realize it's difficult for a Klingon, but don't be a fool.
I think that leads to a firefight.
I cannot believe Quetzalcoatl's mission to Rakkor would cause the deaths of the entire planet. Admiral Vlick, the criminal of whom you speak, is in the middle of a very delicate medical procedure. He cannot be handed over to anyone at this time.
His attempt to corrupt the Empire with his philosophy led to the destruction of all life on Rakkor.
How could a philosophy of peace and non-violence cause the destruction of all life on Rakkor?
Exactly.
Rakkor has been governed by my family for generations, but even they were corrupted by him. It was a matter of honor that his lies had to be silenced, no matter what the cost.
He firebombed the planet.
My God, you killed your own people just because they acquired a philosophy that you disagreed with? You murdered them. You're insane. Tell me, how much do your commanders know about what you did? Or do you need to kill Quetzalcoatl to hide your own deeds?
I think that leads to firefight too, and that's exactly what he's trying to do.
So you killed them. Your own family. You were responsible for their deaths, not Quetzalcoatl.
It was that creature's fault. Had he not interfered in our affairs, the people of Rakor would be alive. Clearly, he is responsible.
Message from Starfleet Command.
I'll argue this with you later, Blicht.
Contact your superiors, Kirk. You may be surprised.
I have bad news, Captain. The Organians have ruled that Quetzalcoatl's interference in Klingon affairs renders him subject to Klingon law. You are to turn your prisoner over to them at Rakur. Klingon law will permit you to observe or aid in his defense. But be very careful, Jin. Starfleet out.
I hate Organians. They are self-righteous assholes of the galaxy. And you never hear of them again, too, in the Next Generation and stuff. I hate them. Just because they think they are superiorly advanced because they've been able to shed their mortal skin and become beings of energy allows them to interfere with other races and tell them what they can and cannot do.
Captain, you cannot turn him over to those butchers. That would be murder.
We have no choice, Scotty. I'm afraid Quetzalcoatl has a date with Klingon justice. Set course for Rakur, Mr. Chekhov. Captain's log. We have come to the ruined Klingon planet of Rakur to deliver our guest, the mythical entity Quetzalcoatl, to a Klingon court. Dr. McCoy, Mr. Spock, and Ensign Benny and I have been granted permission by the Organians to witness this trial, which I expect to be a travesty of any meaningful definition of justice.
Just real quick, I want to say that, speaking of Mr. Chekhov, I want to say that I am deeply saddened by the death of Yaton Yetsin. He was a great actor, but he was very young, just like he's younger than I was, than I am. And it is sad that he died in such a tragic way. He was a great Chekhov, and I've seen a few other movies that he's been in. He's been great, and I'm sad to hear him pass, but anyway. Okay, let's continue on.
Spock, come with me. Mr. Scott, you have the con.
The prisoner and his witnesses will stand forth, so the trial may begin.
Okay, well, I am going to go ahead and save it here.
Save new game. Cancel. Save replace.
Let's replace that one. So I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.